Hello and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Engendered on Captain Television, a program where we have an analysis of all the issues that affect the female gender. I am Chidima Madu.
Welcome to the program this evening. I am Pamela Ajero, who will bring in the topic and also our beautiful guest after this break. To stay with us.
Glad to have you back on this segment of Engendered, and if you're just joining us, you're right on time because the show is just about to begin. And today we're going to be having a very important discussion. It's like a branch of the last episode that we did.
Yeah.
The last episode we discussed human trafficking, and today's topic is like an aspect of human trafficking that we're going to be discussing today. Today we're going to be discussing sexual exploitation with a girl child activist, Chidima Makoachuku. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hope I got the pronunciation of your name.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you look beautiful.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say
You're representing the African woman, like with so much confidence.
Yeah.
You're welcome to the show.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, we're going to be discussing sexual exploitation today, and let me just read something before we begin. A statistics here says that 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 20 boys under the age of 18 experience sexual abuse or assaults. 82% of all victims under 18 are female.
Yeah.
Female ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or assault. That's the sexual assault. Yeah. You see why, out of the statistics that I read now, we just mentioned the boys in one aspect. The remaining parts, most percentage of it is the female. That's why I'm focusing more on the female gender today. So I would like to ask you a question. I know that I've seen some of your works and some things that you do. You're a girl child activist. Yeah. So in your own experience and what you've seen with a girl child, how would you refer or how would you explain the term sexual exploitation?
It's a pity. The truth is, sexual exploitation, I remember many people have talked, highlighted, the campaigns are out there, but the simple truth is the art is still going on. So it just to be a frequent, always talking about it. Sexual exploitation is all about taking advantage of someone's vulnerability and dependent state, either for profit. Some is also about taking advantage of the psychological state of the person. At the stage the person is vulnerable, the person doesn't have a choice than to accept your demand. So the issue is, how do we curtail this? Because it is there. How do we handle this situation? How do we help ourselves as human beings not to take advantage of each other at our vulnerability stage or at our dependent stage? At that point is on our neck. We don't have any other option than to agree to you. So when you talk about the sexual aspect of it, is the sexual exploitation. That are the places where you have the types of rape, sexual assault, sometimes prostitution. You are forced to do certain things because you have no other option. So the issue we as human beings have to prevent the fact that we keep each other at a state sort of duress where you have no other option than to, you are being compelled, everything around you compels you to agree to this.
Okay, now is sexual exploitation, is it the same thing as sexual abuse? Because I saw where they said there must be an exchange for something.
Exploitation is at a vulnerable stage, dependent stage. The perpetrator takes advantage of the victim.
Okay.
So when because sexual exploitation is a sort of like, okay, I need this, and I know you need this. So for me to get this,
like in exchange for something.
In exchange for something, you that's how you get it. Like, rape can be a sexual exploitation act. Prostitution can be a sexual exploitation act. In that situation, the girl child has been prepared to do this, maybe to satisfy something or to meet up a demand for exchange, maybe profit-wise, financially talking, or take advantage of the psychological state of the person. So it's more like the rape, the assault, the prostitution are under sexual, even sexual abuse. They are all under sexual, they are like schemes or types of it, or what I call it like ways through people exploit others sexually. Yeah.
Okay, now can you give us a practical example of this child sexual exploitation? I saw something online that, okay, can you classify a 14-year-old male child having sex with a 13-year-old female child as child sexual exploitation?
They're both teenagers.
They're both teenagers. They exploited each other. One.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have to also check, are they siblings? See if the siblings that we are bringing incest in, like if the sibling that incest, which is they exploited each other, because the people that ought to cancel them or wash over them, it all goes back to the family. Do not do the needful. The checks and balances that need to keep and watch these kids, because before this, they must have been watching pornography. They must have been watching maybe, they must have slaughtered in the discs of pornography that their parents watched that they did not remove. They must have seen it online on social media. So something led to this. So the people that need to keep the checks and balances did not. It's not like it just happened. There is a process for them to get to that stage, to have the boldness to do this. So at this point, you have to do what? Point back to where did we get it all wrong? The family, the parents that ought to look after them, to counsel them, the teachers at school, the society that need to counsel them. So I think this instant is an instant of exploitation. Both exploited each other, but the truth is something influenced this, and somebody that need to stop that thing that influenced it did not do so. It can be the family, it can be the school, it can be the society. That's why when you talk about sexual exploitation, we can stop it, we can prevent it.
Okay, now before we move to the aspect where we have to counsel and stop it, now let's look at some of the causes. What do you think are the causes of this particular act, sexual exploitation? Because earlier this week we had an episode where we spoke about human trafficking, and you mentioned rightly that it's like an exchange for something, where someone has to exchange something. And one our guest mentioned is at parts of the forms of human trafficking, or part of the reasons why people traffic other persons. So what do you think are the other causes of this sexual exploitation?
Number one is poverty. I think, for one to be compelled, is like you are being forced to do, because sexual exploitation is like you are it's not you. In your normal state, you won't. A girl child is possible to have a boyfriend. You can satisfy each other with your own consent, and you are happy at it. That's like normal, like an average responsible thing. There is a mutual concept. But when you talk about sexual exploitation, you are compelled to do something against your will. You are put under duress. If it has been in your own way, you should not be in that condition.
Okay. So,
poverty, when the necessary amenities are not there to help the girl child can be vulnerable, can be in a dependent state where, like, she has to meet or maybe to pay school fees or to foot her bill.
Okay, what kind of amenities are we talking about?
I'm still coming. When the poverty aspect, maybe the parents are not able to provide certain things for her. I've seen cases of girl child where, like, they have to be at a vulnerable stage to get funds to take care of themselves, the sanitary pad, the panties, their inner ways, their clothes, because the people around them are not taking good care of them. So that keeps them at a vulnerable stage where they have to do certain things to get the money. At this point, I know you will blame the girl child at some point, because there are many other ways to get this money. You can acquire a skill. You can get enrolled in a skill acquisition college or scheme and get yourself empowered so that you can get your own money. But the parents, when they are not able to create the enabling environment for her to foster and grow and become the proud Nigerian woman she ought to grow into, that's the poverty aspect of it. Sometimes the peer pressure. My friends are doing this. You need to do this. She's been influenced negatively. Sometimes I think racism, that when we talk about outside Nigeria, because racism is no more common inside. When we talk about outside Nigeria, you are black. The white felt like, you are not regarded. You are not part of the society. You're not even the average. You're like a commoner. That's how they place some. Though not all the countries, but some. Then you can also see cases of Okay, I've mentioned poverty, peer pressure. How will I put it? I want to be part of the society. Though it's part of the peer pressure, but I think classism. I want to be part of what is happening. So how can I get myself empowered instead of acquiring a skill, instead of getting well enhanced or enabled, empowering yourself? You felt like, okay, let me exchange. That's why, like, you're going into prostitution, not like you like the prostitution you're doing. It's like, I want to do this to get the money. In fact, sometimes it's the girl child that is exploiting herself because her environment did not create an enabling environment for her to foster, or she's aiming higher than her level at that point. She's being influenced by the society. I want to belong. So she's taking extra negative measures to get certain things, to be like the big girl in city, something like that. So at that point is the girl child. So what she lacks, like counseling, she lacks like guide. Like, you can still get the money, and you can still get in a legit way, in a legal way. You're not necessarily like exploiting yourself or putting yourself under certain conditions to acquire the word. So these are some of the causes.
Now, how can one identify a child who is sexually exploited? And what can the society and your parents look out for? What are the signs they look out for?
The truth is, victims of sexual exploitation is hard to talk. At this point, you will understand, like, she doesn't want to give you a clue of what is happening around her. But another question should be, why won't a parent understand the child he or she raised? There is how your child will exhibit some characters. You will be like, what is happening? So one is, the parents need to draw more closer to their kids, especially the girl child. Sexual exploitation victims, they don't talk, they die in silence. That's why our curriculum, the school, the society, like we are doing here, this is an enlightenment and empowering conversation. When it's out there in the social media, people listen, talk, say it out. Yeah, at some point in your life, you are vulnerable and you did certain things and you felt guilty, express it out. But the issue should be to the right source. Find a counselor, find maybe a girl child activist that can guide you, that can lead you through. NGOs, we have a lot of NGOs available in Nigeria that are into sexual education, girl child activism, and creating platform for the girl child to come and empower herself, be bold, confident, and the rest of it. So how can one identify? You need to understand your child, the child you raise, as a mother, as a father, and the society should not discriminate them when they break the silence. Maybe some break the silence on a negative platform. You see some people sharing the experiences on social media, and you see castigation, discrimination, and the rest of it. So I think before it goes out there, you must have been bold enough to accept criticisms. You must have been bold enough to accept blames. But you must have gone through the right channel by finding a counselor. Talk to your parents, talk to your mother, relate, open up. Some mothers don't know. Some mothers don't have a clue. It's only those that are intelligent enough that will now see how their child is behaving and now sit her down to like, okay, what is happening? So I think we need to draw closer to our kids, and the society need to help.
You know, if you see a pregnant woman at the earlier stage, there are people who can just predict that this person is pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, so is there no sign like you can just see and say, this child is being exploited sexually?
Yeah, when she starts keeping to herself, she's no longer herself. She's silent on issues, she can open up. She doesn't want to be in her circle again, her peers. She doesn't want to associate. When you notice that she's shying away from one particular person or particular guardian, she's no longer herself, you need to draw her close. Or maybe you felt she's no longer engaging in activities she previously engaged in. You need to draw her close and notice something is wrong. Okay. And when she opens up, don't bash her, don't be angry, accommodate her. If you can't handle it, find a counselor, find somebody higher than you that can take it up. If it's to get the perpetrator to work on that, get a legal firm that can help you on it, get some girl child active platform that can help you on it. We have Federation of Women Lawyers and a whole lot of organizations out there that are out to deal with such cases.
Now, what negative impact does this act have on children and also the society?
The truth is, sexual exploitation first is the self-esteem. So if the girl child is not able to talk it out, to break the silence, to say what happened to her, the society cannot help. Probably the parents cannot help, the family cannot help, and the school cannot help. So the truth is, once she lets it out, the next step is take it up and guide her. Tell her it is not the end of the world. It happened. Yeah, you were exploited. Either you contributed to it or certain factors contributed to it. First of all is gather yourself. You can still become the best version of yourself. It's just for you to take the courage and take the next step in building the woman you are. We have seen many exploited individuals and children in the past that when they broke the silence and talked about what happened to them, people helped them to stand on their feet. And today they are advocating, today they are empowering people, today they are talking, today they are trying to make sure that the girl child, that the rate of sexual exploitation is reduced, the percentage in Nigeria and across the world. So it's more of the talking. When you talk, you give the clue for the guide to come.
Okay, I want to make reference to something you said earlier. You said one of the causes is poverty. Now, some people have the school of thought that poverty is a thing of the mind.
Yeah.
It has to do with the mindset.
Yeah.
So that people that make excuses for doing some certain things because of poverty is not valid. And that poverty, that it is not a valid reason for maybe someone to come out and say, this is the reason why I did this. What's your opinion on that? Because if we say that poverty is one of the major causes, that means we should have, so many people are poor. That means we should have a lot of ladies either carrying out prostitution or being sexually exploited in Nigeria.
The truth is, we have many ladies doing prostitutions not because they like prostitutions.
Okay.
But certain things force them into it. Another truth is poverty plays a great role. How do you describe someone in a situation where she's an orphan, the uncles are not helping out? Maybe the properties of the parents were taken from her.
Okay.
She has nobody to run to. And she has one uncle, or maybe she's not exposed enough. She have one uncle that is telling her, you have to sleep with me for me to get you the money. At that point, she's vulnerable. She might probably do it to have the money. Maybe to have the money to escape the environment at that time. So when the necessary resources are not around the girl child, there are tendencies that she might be exploited sexually.
Okay, you have the school of thought that poverty is a
Poverty
contributing
plays
factor.
like a great role.
Okay, now you've been talking about parents, the role of parents. Parents have to play. We have seen instances where parents come out and they try their best to bring up their children in the best of their knowledge, and still these children still turn out to be who the parents did not expect them to be. Why? What can you say about that? Because if a parent has come out to, if I'm a parent and I've come out to play my role as a parent to train up my child, and at the end of the day, maybe because of the formal education I want to give my child, the child gets to school to mingle with other people, or because I feel like my child should have a phone or should have access to technology, and the child then tends to go to social media and use it for the negative purposes, is the parent still to blame for that particular child?
The truth is, whenever a child goes astray, something went wrong from the home.
Always the home.
Yeah, it starts from the home.
Okay.
Then the school, because the home exposes the child to the school, and the home ought to monitor the processes of the child in the school.
Okay.
If you have a close monitoring of your child activities, even if you give him or her the gadgets, the devices, the mobile devices, you monitor what he or she looks into.
Okay.
At some point you might not control, but you have 75% chances of control and model the child. At some point, then when you have the home have done its best, then the school takes it up. The teachers you educate the child, expose the knowledge of the child, that you can be exploited. Speak, talk. These are instances that will show that somebody wants to exploit you. Talk to your parents, talk to your teachers. That knowledge goes into the head of the child. That when somebody is trying, maybe a little child, when somebody is trying to touch me, my breast, my private part, and I need to, I'm trying to blackmail and say, don't tell anybody, I need to speak up. Build confidence in your child at the early stage. Build boldness, high self-esteem. And when he's there, when the school plays their own role very, very well, then it now comes to the society. No, after the school is the peer pressure, because that's the adolescent stage.
Yeah.
Then you now monitor the circle your child is working with.
Okay.
The circle your child is working, we need to keep a close eye on them. The family, the background, that's how you model a responsible child. Then you also pray. It's not easy. You put them in prayers, you hand them over to God. Then at that stage, it's now beyond peer group. It's now at the societal stage where she's now into the university, or he is now into the university. You play because you have nurtured them from home, the primary school, the secondary school. You have inculcated godly traits, explain to her the bad and the good side of the world and the society. Now, at that point, if he or she wants to go astray, you have prayed your role, and you have to do what? You have handed him or her to God. And I don't believe that kind of child can be exploited. Then if peradventure he or she is, that's when I think the trait that we're inculcated into her should come up. And she should understand, like, that it doesn't have the basic things. That doesn't make you to go into prostitution or allow yourself to be used so that you can be in exchange of something. Because the end product of sexual exploitation is profit.
Okay.
It's profit, that's it. Something is being exchanged. So whatever it is, understand that as a woman, you can get your money with your skills. No matter how small you start, just take a step to build yourself up, nurture yourself, your mentality, that you as a woman can become a global figure in the society, can do something. Not like you can meet up to the man or you want to drag it with the man. No, that you can become a very reputable individual in the society with your own skills, with your own brain, with your own idea. Just strategize it and make sure you utilize the resources around you, have an enabling environment, and you become the best version of yourself.
Now you've stated the roles of individuals, the roles of the parents, the teachers, down to the society. Do you think the government has any role to play in this act?
Yeah, that's why when you talk about sexual exploitation, that reminds me of I think section 281 of the Penal Code, which says if you take advantage of someone, even with the person's consent, for immoral purpose, the person is liable to 7 years imprisonment with a fine. So that's when the government comes in. No, the government comes in with the education, the basic universal education that said at least a child should have the primary education free of charge. So the government have started working from that stage, and the curriculum are there to guide the child to become a responsible Nigerian. Aside becoming a responsible Nigerian, to understand the knowledge of sexual exploitation, sexual abuse, know what is rape, sexual assault. To that stage, even if the child is not further with the secondary education, the government have set in. Now, when there is a victim of sexual exploitation, the perpetrator will be dealt with the government, because the legal or firms or the legal practitioners will take it up. And that's where the government comes in to say, because you did it, you are going to jail for 7 years and with a fine. So I think the government, all we have to do is to make sure that we execute the law, that we get the perpetrators. Yeah, let the girl child talk. That's the most important thing. Say it, then the help will come. When the help comes, the government takes it.
Okay, now what I would like to talk about this particular, because I actually saw a lot of laws against the penal code, like you mentioned. are we really sure, or for it true, are we practical that these laws are being implemented? Because you have stories, if you work one-on-one with the girl child, you have stories of people that have even gone to report these cases, and the people they are reporting the cases to, like for example, you go to, there was a story I read, and the lady went to report at a police station, and the man asked her the next question, I think we both heard it before, are you a virgin? So why are you now coming to come and tell us this kind of thing? It's not your first time. So what is the proof you have? All those kind of things. Sometimes even before you report a case, for some people, the kind of fees that they have to pay to even get the people to believe them, because some of them have been cajoled to pay money before they can actually pen down their cases. So are we going to say, even if people come out to speak, and the people they are speaking to are not helping them take the matter up, how are we going to get it enacted or implemented?
I think the first step is, who did the girl child spoke to or is speaking with? You are a victim of rape. Why going to the police? Walk into the welfare department in your local government.
Okay.
Go to your welfare, report your case. Welfare takes care of the girl child, the women, broken marriages, and the rest. You have NGOs. You have Federation of Women Lawyers in Nigeria. They have their branches all over. So it's about where you can report to the police. Maybe that's like an encounter of someone with the police, or in a police station. Yes, possibly there are incidents about that. But the most important thing is, who did you report to? So first of all, the counselors in the school, the primary school, we have guidance counselors. In secondary school, we have guidance counselors. They will help you. In universities, we have NGOs and, university parastatals, arms that tackle this kind of issues. So it's about, where did you give the information to? Where did you complain to? When you get it to the right source, I know of many cases. I was a former queen to a pageant, a UK-based pageant, in 2021. Part of the project I ran was on the girl child, especially like protecting her, helping her to understand that she can do a whole lot of things, even regardless of the environment, that she can still prune herself and acquire skill, yes, and be bold enough to be a global figure, bold enough to impact her world and her surrounding. So we have many NGOs like that. The fact is, many complaints that we got, because we have a legal firm backing us, we took it up to them. And they did what? They took it off from there. We have cases where girls were exchanged for money, marry this as little as 12, 15, marry this child, pay me my debt, she's your wife, no bride price. And these girls have to complain. What happened? I can't stay in this. Married to old men, they can't stay in this. So the first thing was to get a skill for them. They have a skill that, after helping or leading them through, they can stand on their feet. That's the most important thing, because when she doesn't have an enabling environment, she can't stand on her feet. She's vulnerable to many things. So help her get on her feet. That's the most important thing. And she stands on her feet, and she can do a whole lot of things. So the thing is, where is the information taken to? The right source.
Speaking to the right people.
Speak to the right people.
Okay, can you let our viewers know who those right people are again, so that they can...
In your primary school is your guidance counselor.
Okay.
In your secondary school, we have guidance counselors in all the secondary school in this country.
Okay.
Speak to them. They are being trained to tackle these issues.
Are you sure they are being trained?
Yes, they are being trained.
Nigerians.
Yes. Then, aside that, in your local government, you have the welfare unit of the local government. Go in there and talk about what happened to you. Rape cases, sexual assault, sexual exploitation are taken very seriously. I've not heard about people that say you pay fine. I've not heard of, so I know they are taking, when about issue of money, when you're talking about maybe marriages and the rest of it, but when you're about rape cases, they take extra measures to get the perpetrators. First of all, is to take care of the girl child.
Okay.
Make sure she's healthy, make sure she's protected, she doesn't have an infection, shake with her, she's pregnant, and the rest, blah, blah, blah of it. If she's good, health-wise, good, we'll now work on getting what happened, who did this, where is the person, arrest and the
You know,
rest.
talking about taking care of the girl child, I have a question to
Yeah.
ask about that, but we'll take that question after the break.
Okay.
Okay, all right, viewers, we'll be going on a short break now, and when we
Thank you.
return, Engendered continues. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the program. If you've just joining us, this is Engendered, and it's coming to you live from our Abuja studios here on Kaftan Television. Before we went on that short break, we've been discussing child sexual exploitation with our beautiful guests here in the studios. And before we went on that short break, Chidima was about to ask you a question. So over to you, Chidima.
Yes. Okay, so the question I was about to ask you, you spoke about when the girl child goes to speak to the right person,
Yeah.
the first one is to take care of the girl child. Now, we have seen instances where you hear of rape cases sometimes, and they get to the hospital and they still need to pay a particular amount of money for them to be checked. And now we're talking about children. The children we're talking about are below 18 years. And if some of them don't have guidance or people that are around them to pay that particular fee, how do they now access the help that they need? Because I think the basic one, I heard someone talking about paying a sum of 5,000 at least to be able to be checked. If the person doesn't go with a guardian, they don't attend to the person. Now, how can a teenager that we're talking about that poverty has affected for them to do that kind of thing now have access to 5,000 or 10,000 or above to be able to pay for a checkup to be okay?
I think that's where the primary health care comes in.
Okay.
Because the government set it up to also handle cases like this. The primary health care is providing health care and making it accessible to ordinary Nigerians.
Okay.
So, and it's in every community. Yeah, I know of that one. It's in every community. So it's up to the girl child. I know she might not be financially enough to assist herself. Of course, if you walk into a private hospital, they will demand, and they want to make their money. But it's just for us to also understand, to have the woman's sympathy at times on this kinds of sensitive situations and issues. So a primary health care, however bad it is, walk into a primary health care, tell them you were raped.
But
you
do
want
they have
to
the
check
necessary equipment? Because I've been
yeah.
to one
Okay.
in, I think at Buhari here in Abuja, and the situation there wasn't friendly because they didn't even have the normal supplies, even normal medication for headaches and the likes of it. When a woman is in labor, the hospital is leaking. Like, are these health cares, are they properly equipped to have? Because you can say we have it. If you check the record, maybe they have said they have it, but the maintenance is not there from what we have seen. Personally, I went there. The roof is leaking. I spoke with a midwife, and she said most of the time when a lady is in labor, they have to take her out of Buhari to town to be able to put to bed. And by the time they are going, sometimes the child may die or the woman may die. The journey is far. They don't have drugs there. They don't have beds there. They don't have, like, it's not properly equipped. So if you're talking about those rural locations, they don't have this proper medication. So even if they go there and they still have female sympathy, I want to attend to the girl child, but they don't have equipment to attend to the girl child.
The truth is, at this point, we need to hold our leaders accountable. Because the money for this was disbursed. It's how was it utilized? How was it used? So it's also the jurisdiction who is the local government chairman, who is maybe the State House of Assembly member, who is the rep and the senator in charge of that senatorial district. You hold them accountable. If you hold them, we need to hold the truth. We need to hold our leaders accountable. Hold them accountable by open letters, put it out to the social media. Let them come back and do it because they were given the money. The money have been given to them. So need to handle it. I think our society is exposed enough to certain issues, like when you are given something to utilize and that particular politician doesn't want to do it, the whole environment need to hold him or she like accountable to it. And when we talk about the primary health care, the federal government disburses money, billions of money, well, let's say trillions on these issues. And they have officers in each local government and in each town. So it's about accountability of our leaders. Okay, in such cases where, yes, the girl child comes into a health care center where the amenities are not there, that's where you can seek out for NGOs in your locality that tackles or are so passionate about the girl child. Look for one. We have you use the social media, search girl child NGOs around you. You can see their numbers. Put out a call. The Federation of Women Lawyers in Nigeria put out a call. They have their lawyers in each state, and I think each state. I of local government no for now, but from the state they can disburse lawyers to whoever and disburse help, and also I will use this opportunity to also plead to every mother, every father out there, because why the girl child is kept or it's at this point where she doesn't have anybody to help her is because the environment doesn't want to, well, I say the environment doesn't want to hear you are rape, the discrimination, the criticism, bad ones, not constructive. We should all stand up and make sure any girl child across you, around you, is protected, is safe, educated, empowered, nurtured, pruned to the fact like she's comfortable to express whatever is happening around her to you. She's comfortable to say what is happening around her. I think with that she can have a help. Okay, let's say the government amenities are not there to help her. Maybe the parents can help. I believe the primary school guidance and counselor can also be at help. The secondary school guidance and counselor can also be at help. When we all come together, I think the rate of sexual exploitation and the rate of the child being vulnerable or being at an dependent state or under duress to do certain things she ought not to do because the environment doesn't create the enabling environment for her to create an enabling environment for her to become what she ought to become or assess certain things she ought to assess. So at this point, let's all come together, whoever you are, wherever you are, any girl child, let's start from the one you have in your house, your sister, your daughter, your house help. Help them to become a better version of them. Thank you.
Now you said something about guidance and counseling. Yeah. In reality, these counselors in schools, they don't really have time, especially in government schools. I know how they operate there. Yeah. You can come with your complaint. It's only the ones that are passionate about what they are doing that, okay, and the person will have time to attend to the numbers of people who wants to talk to her. Now let's talk about the ones that are not passionate about their job. Government workers, if we tell ourselves the truth, we know how they operate because nobody checks and balances them. They can just relax. And the child who has a problem and coming to talk to counselor is telling the child, I don't have time, I've closed for the day, you can come another day. So I'm not in that support of going to counselor. Everybody has a parent they can always talk to and go back to. Now, secondly, I want to ask you, who are the perpetrators of this evil crime? I can remember when I was growing up, when my dad's friend used to come to the house. Anytime he comes, he will be like, oh yeah, me and my sister, he will call us and he'll start touching us. Those kind of, unheard things. So I want you to enlighten our viewers to know who are the perpetrators of this crime.
How we can
of
identify them?
Yes, of this act.
We can identify them by the act. Once you notice that as a little child, whether a girl or boy, there's this big uncle somewhere that always come to the house, like you said, that calls you to a corner, wants to touch your private part, want to touch your breast, want to touch your body, or want to have carnal knowledge. When we say carnal knowledge, like sexual knowledge of you, at that point you are being exploited. The child is at a vulnerable state, and because the child is not exposed, he or she might give in. And though it takes an irresponsible parent not to understand what is happening in his or her home, so the perpetrators is or are any individuals that keeps you at a vulnerable stage, at a point you don't have any other option than to give in. That person is a perpetrator of sexual exploitation, giving to his sexual desires, maybe to satisfy him or her at your own dislike. You don't want it, but you are being pushed, you are being forced to do it. Just know that that person is a perpetrator of sexual exploitation. When it comes to the prostitution aspect of it, is when you are being compelled, you need to sleep with this person and bring this also amount of money. My dear, that whoever is giving that instruction is a perpetrator of sexual exploitation. If you go beyond that, when you start talking about trafficking, where some people will gather some girls and take them out of the country, or some even within Nigeria, they will pack them in one place where they have some people that will come and pregnant them. Maybe they sell their children when they give birth. Baby factories is also an organ of sexual exploitation. Whoever they are perpetrators. So you need to report them. Though they can be dangerous, they can, some people in the course of trying to report, they were killed and the rest. You just need to plan your ways and get the right source before you make it so loud or expose your plans or trying to report anybody. At that point, you need to go to the local government, look at the welfare unit of the local government and explain and alert them. You can also alert the police on baby factories. Yes, I think they are in the best position to work on that also. So that's
are you saying anybody can be a perpetrator?
Yes, that is, anybody can be a perpetrator. It's not a man or woman something. Anybody, whoever, likes trying to persuade you or push you to do something sexually against your opinion, against what you want at that moment, the person wants to sexually exploit you. That is it.
Okay, is there a way we can prevent this act from happening?
My dear, we can prevent it. We can prevent it. I think institutional framework, when the judiciary, the police, the social service agencies, NGOs, like this TV is doing, I must commend the two of you, like doing this, bringing people on board to talk about the girl child and our problem. You are helping to enlighten people. You are helping to prevent it. At least 1, 2, 3, or 4 people will hear about it and understand. Maybe they might be in that situation. You understand, see, this thing has been happening to me. This person is sexually exploiting me. So thank you and kudos to that. So the first is the enlightenment. We talk about it in the church, in the mosque, the social medias, handles, the media, both digital and printed media. Everybody have to come in and start talking. Then make education accessible. We will commend the government on universal basic education. Then inculcating the curriculum, these things, this topic, rape, sexual exploitation, sexual assault, trafficking. Let this teaching be inculcated in the minds of these children from the younger age. So when this art, they see this art, they understand, oh, this is what my teacher taught me. And let's be raw with our words. Don't try to package it. No, the word is so exposed. You can't package it anymore. Tell the child what he or she needs to hear. Because she might hear it outside and hear it from a bad source that will not explain it well as it ought to be explained. So, education, enlightenment, institutional framework, everybody collaboration, it has to be a partnership because it's a war, it's a battle, and we all need to come together to handle it. Then perpetrators must be brought to book, and make it so official and announced, So that anybody that has the mind to go and do something again, or within that, we understand, oh, if you tried it, this is 7 years imprisonment and a fine. And probably in that 7 years, you are coming and you are an ex-convict. Of course, you cannot even contest or do anything in the society. So that is a bigger wahala for you. And another thing is to tell the girl child, wherever you are, do not die in silence. Talk. It's when you talk that the help comes. And talk to the right source. Call your mom, call your dad, tell them, this uncle, this brother, look at what is happening. This person have been touching me. This person have been doing this to me, trying to sexually exploit me for some time. Mom, you need to come and caution this guy. And you, parent, I know you might not want to expose your child, but handle it amicably in a way that the child will be safe, so that the perpetrator will be brought to book, to avoid the perpetrator having another victim out there. Because when you don't bring them to book, your child might be protected, but you don't know the other child out there might fall a victim. So that is it. And once we give this boldness and courage to our girls, our boys, the young children, to say it, break the silence. I think when the society understand, like, everybody is wise, like everybody who have wise up. So no, this can be like allowed the game. You need to talk, and because this kids is in their curriculum. The teacher the teacher teaches about it in their school. The church, in the single fellowship, they talk about it. The mosques, the television, everybody is talking about it. I think the rate will be reduced. That's my opinion. Okay. I think it will be reduced.
Okay, talking about everybody wising up and we speaking up about it, but some people have the school of thought, or some people think that our value system right now has depreciated. So what you might see as a problem might not be a problem to another person. And people have this mindset of mind your business. It's not my business. For example, before they used to tell us that it's the community that raises the child, not just the parents. But now we are having, I don't know if it's the civilization we are having, everybody in their corner. So it's very possible that Mrs. A finds out that Mrs. B's child is being exploited, but she says, it's not my business. It's not my own child. As long as it's not my own child, I don't have anything to say about it. And she keeps quiet, and that child continues being exploited. And it's possible that she goes up to speak up, and Mrs. B feels like you're just trying to be a bad belly, like they will say, or you're just trying to spoil my child or say bad things about my child. So she picks up a fight with her. And in that process, that child is still being exploited. Our value system depreciates in that particular method. So how do you think we can fight this particular mindset or system that we have that is affecting our value system in Nigeria right now?
I think all of us have to be our brother's keeper. Because it can be my child, it can be your child. It can be your child. So possibly I might not notice it, you might notice it. Call my attention to it. Okay. Tell me, look at what is up. And I don't think any responsible mother that is being like explained to look at what is happening to your child will be angry to the person. Though it depends on how the communication went. Yeah. So it has to be a mature conversation. See, look at what is happening to your child though. See, listen, look what I've noticed. Every responsible mother will take it up to see to the end of it. Because when a girl child is being exploited, damaged, a nation is being exploited and damaged. When you raise a girl child, you raise a nation. When you raise a responsible girl child, you raise a nation. So when we all collectively be our brother's keeper and raise a responsible girl children, a society where the girl children are bold enough to communicate their problems and issues to the right source, I think the perpetrators will take a step back and have a rethink and force themselves to be responsible citizens. So it should be we all being our brother's keeper, doing the communication maturely, and looking out for each other's back. The mother cannot do it alone. That's why it's a step. From the home, the school takes it up. From the school, the society takes it up. From the society, the whole world takes it up. So the global world trains a child. But it's a process that will lead to the global world, to the global stage to take it up on themselves to train the person to become a global figure. So, but like I said, it's a process, and we all contribute. So everybody must come together to train a girl child that will not be a liability to the world in the nearest future. And they get to that we are an asset. That's the most important thing. So, because if you train one that will be a liability, probably it's my child that the girl will come and corrupt.
Exactly.
So I have to try as much as possible, any girl child around me, to train her to become an asset. If I give birth tomorrow to a girl child, I don't have one now. If I give birth tomorrow, and because the person that have been around me is not, I've not trained the girl child well, possibly that girl can corrupt mine. And no matter how, of course, can influence the girl negatively. And no matter how I try to do it, because I have a negative influence around her, possibly my own positive influence can be like 50, has 50. That's like a mixed wahala for me. So all of us need to come together.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of us need to come together and make it work.
Thank you. It's been an interesting session with you. Thank you for the enlightenment. Thank you. Okay, viewers, we have heard it from our guests. We all have to be a brother's keeper. Don't turn a blind eye to what is happening around you. Speak up if you're being exploited. It is not a good thing. And do not let situations or conditions make you to do what you are not going to be proud of tomorrow. Like she said, you can come out tomorrow to be a social or a public figure, and then the internet never forgets. They dig up the bad part about you and bring it to use it against you. And that's all we can take on today's episode of Enjeda. Do well to join us next time for an interesting episode. I remain Chidima Ufomadu.
I'm Pamela Ajero. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.